Take us away, CJ.
Hello, hello. How are we all doing today?
Wait,
Hello,
why
Piranha.
you do the intro now?
He's doing the intro today.
I'll do the intro, mate. Do
This
you
is
want to do the
getting
intro?
out of hand.
Do you want to do the intro, mate?
Um,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
well, I
Be
don't
quiet.
want to take it away from you.
Don't
You go
interrupt
for it.
my vocals.
Please continue.
Cool. Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Or should we say, I don't know, what's pirate words?
Gar.
Yar.
Arr. How is everyone doing on this jolly pirate week? How's it been? How's everyone finding the pirate week stuff?
I just figured that actually you starting off this week's show is so appropriate. It being Pirate Week.
I suppose if the cap fits,
This is AKA this is like off-brand Drake week, pretty much.
Yeah, it's not even off brand to be honest. Like I don't know why the ships they released, the Skull Piercer, Skull Cracker paint, whatever it was, don't know why they were those ships in general. It should have just been the entirety of the Drake fleet. I got the skin, but oh well. But anyway, so hello Spectre, hello Piranha, hello Cyanide in chat already. Tasty boys.
Very nice.
Did we all get the coin, the pirate treasure challenge coin?
Yar.
So, what did you think of the event?
That's the big question, isn't it? What did we think of the event? Did you take part? We want to know. First of all, is the Blockade runner strictly Pirate Week, or has it been running a bit longer?
It's 4.24, whatever it is, isn't it? That's what it came with, not Pirate Week. It is a patch thing.
Yeah.
A patch, you say?
Ah.
An eye patch?
Yeah, no. I mean, I've not really done any actual Blockade run. Piranha ain't got the coin yet. No.
You obviously haven't put the code into the website. But
I've got the coin. I did actually go out searching for the clues as well. I didn't get to complete it because it was being dropped in drips and drabs. And as for the event itself, I managed to play it. Really enjoyed it. But I did mostly the cargo stuff, and then the other part didn't drop. And the cargo, when I had a whole C2 filled with cargo, went to go trade it, and it just no payment or anything. I was like, okay, that's weird. Had a look at my bank balance, nothing's changed, but the mission completed. So I'm not sure what's happening with the rewards at the moment, but yeah.
Okay, it's a bit of a skill issue.
Looks like CIG pirated me.
Yeah, I went
nice.
out and I looked for all the clues, and by looked for the clues, I mean I searched them on Reddit, and then obviously found the code. So yeah, I mean that was an easy coin. But I mean I didn't go out and have a look, but from what everyone was saying, then all of the clues were there, looked pretty cool, took you across the verse kind of thing. But no.
Find the bottle. Find the pink bottle. I was like,
yeah, there was a lot of debate over which pink bottle it was and which word on the bottle was the one that was required. I got a bit too in depth with it. I thought it was an actual like a hex code. After seeing the name like Jinx on the bottle, I kind of thought it was going to be like a Jinx, like a hex. It's the same sort of word in the thesaurus. And I went down a rabbit hole.
I overthought it.
Yeah, I did a lot more than overthink it as well. I did HTML scraping, everything to try and find out what this blooming code was. And no, nothing was there. So I had to wait for someone that was a lot smarter than me to come up with it.
So is this your first time participating in an event like this?
What, as in
is in like an online treasure hunt?
So we're talking about the coin. We're not talking because if we say online event, we're gonna get confused with like
online treasure hunt.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much the first time. I'm usually way too lazy. If it was a like a world's first thing, then yeah, cool. I probably would have been involved and wanted to do it. But because it was everyone's gonna get a coin, and it's a coin at the end of the day, wasn't it? If it was one of those skull crusher boxes, those boxes that are causing some debate, then if you got given one of them for completing it, then I probably would have tried to get out there and do it myself.
Knowing CIG with how in depth they go, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, that is going to be an in-game physical item, and then they might bring in an animation where you can flip the coin and it lands like 50-50 heads or tails. So when you become a pirate, you can put everyone into the airlock of the ship. You go heads, you get space, tails, you survive. Flip. Oh, there we go. Goodbye. So
it's like what was it? Harvey Dent. What was his name? Two-Face. When it flipped the coin, was it Harvey Dent? Was it Harvey Dent on
Harvey Dent.
Batman?
Two-Face.
Yeah, Two-Face, where he flipped the coin, and
Yeah.
if it landed on whatever it was, he died.
No Country for Old Men. Is that we talking about that film?
No, we're talking about Batman.
I was born in the late 90s.
Okay, cool. No Country for Old Men. There was the guy, the assassin went around with flip a coin, and he had a silent shotgun.
That sounds sick.
It's one of the most intense scenes in movies that I've ever seen. But yeah, it was Harvey Dent in Dark Knight, wasn't it? So I'm going to take over a little bit here. I was left quite disappointed by what this could have been. We're going to break the seal really early. Mention Sea of Thieves and the Hoarder's Hunt that happened, must have been about a year ago about now, where it was a comprehensive, perhaps a bit too in-depth online treasure hunt. And when CJ rang me and he was like, dude, it's a hex code. I was like, well, how did you get that? And he says, well, Jinx, if you go down the rabbit hole there, it means hex. I was like, do you know what? You're probably right. And then what followed afterwards just looked like it could have been a hex code. So I was like, whoa, the code's got to be a colour. But we're missing the last part of the clue, which was almost like it was a timed thing that was delivered at a specific time so that you couldn't finish the hunt at the start of the week. You had to wait till, it had just been decided it was going to be released. Why was it not a case of, okay, they give us a clue, you solve that clue, that's when the community as a whole get awarded with the second clue and then the third clue. And then the code word makes sense. Because this made no sense to me. I was like, the hell, 3C and what Jinx at the start of it, it didn't make any sense. Whereas if it was something like Jinx meant hex and then you had a hex code and the hex turned out to could be crimson. I am also very disappointed at the fact that none of this treasure hunt led us down the lore path using the website and finding parts on the website, code words. It could be something that's out of place on the website. And really given a full experience. I feel like this was just on a whim. Let's put something up, and yeah, cool. Not much thought went into it. Not much care, and when we care about this game as much as we do, I'd love to have seen a bit more.
The only reason it was a 2-part clue, pretty much, and it was time gated rather than actual what's the word? Activity gated kind of. Was because it keeps that interest. If they had just released the code day one, it would have been solved pretty quick. That's it. Everyone would have stopped playing. Everyone would have stopped doing this code thing, creating drive and buzz for it. The social media clicks and all of that stuff, that happens with entertainment on this game. If they'd done it on day one, it would have been solved pretty quickly. But
it would have been data mined straight away.
Exactly. So what they did was they released it over a couple of days, and then that's pretty much it. Just it caused people to want to play for those 3 days before the second clue dropped because they thought there was something else. They thought they could solve it, but they couldn't because it was impossible.
How many of you guys were hovering around Reddit?
I had a
tab
an alert. So every time there was a new post on that one, there was one feed on Reddit. And every time there was a new comment on it, I got a notification for it. So I was like, oh, and then that was that.
So I think one of the things that is definitely going to support. I can see where One Dog's coming from, especially when there's professions like data running and all that sort of stuff coming in there. There are those people out there that want to have that challenge to break into it. But there's another part, and there's also systems already in game that would kind of allow for a better suggestion, which is I think they should have a code that gets deployed in the game but parts of the code are on different data pads, and these data pads get put into the loot pool, so that when people go out and play the game, there'll be a rare drop, and then all of a sudden they get a data pad and it's got a code on it. It's like it's one part of the code, and you're like, okay. So then you take that to Reddit and you're talking to other people, whatever, and it takes like five pads to get the code, and then you put the code up, and somehow they make it so that the code changes every 2 days. So if you haven't managed to find 5 pads in that specific amount of time, that code's reset. It's changed. You have to get back in there and try and loot 5 again.
That'd be interesting.
I had a shower thought earlier that I think that they should have done the code. The first half of the code, for example, could have been community solved, but the second half of the code had to be individual solved. So they had to find something on the map that was client sided. So there'll be like a text on your personal hangar or something like that, tucked away in the corner that was hidden, but it's generated per client.
Yeah.
And the RSI website would know that. The RSI website goes, your handle is, for example, CJ Radley, and then in game, my account's the same handle, CJ Radley. That would then give me a completely like randomized 4-digit
Could
code.
hash your username because every username
Yeah,
would
exactly.
be unique.
And yeah, so it would give us something that was only client sided. So if someone else came to your hangar and saw your code, then it might show you theirs, or everyone has a personal hangar, right? It's everyone's individual personal hangar as a code. So if someone else came to your hangar, it would show them yours or whatever. But a way of having it unique, but also required you to do something, not just do what I did and sit on Reddit and press F5 every time a new post came up.
I mean, think what they could do with like notifications with the mobiGlass, and like eventually when you get like messages and stuff like that sent from, there will be some kind of messaging thing, and if NPCs get the ability to send you messages as well, that could be linked in with missions. So if, say for example, event drops, it goes, right, go to this, it gives you clues, takes you to a place. When you get to that place, like a notification pops up like you've received a message. You look and there's like some disembodied voice or something like that from some guy that's some NPC that's using a voice changer or something like that, and it's black screen, and he's like, yeah, you found the first clue, here's the next clue, and you just sort of like run through that, and you're getting these notifications in game, and then at the end of it, there's so many things that it could do with it that keeps people in game and flying around and like playing, which would be brilliant.
I like the idea of the data pads as well. Try and get certain career loops involved.
Yeah, because they already have that, right? With the confiscate materials and like reinforced bunker missions. Like you have those data pads that you take off the UE guys. Oh, Crusader Security, sorry. And you already got that code there. You have to input it in, but put it into the website.
Brian's got a good point. There should have been a code in Clasher that help people get into the pirate mood, i.e. you would have to engage in some form of illegal entertainment, shall we say, and end up in Clasher for you to be able to obtain that code. Much like when you are trying to escape and you peer through the shutters and you see the code on the wall.
But doesn't that not make you a pirate? Like you end up getting caught. I mean, you're a pretty crap pirate, right?
Captain Jack Sparrow
so if you're a
got
good
caught.
pirate, but if you're a good pirate, then well, yeah, fair. But you want actually, I suppose that makes sense because he wanted to get caught. That's all part of the plan. So yeah, I mean,
he wanted to get caught to get into Clasher to get the code to get out to obtain the gold.
Yeah, it's
I
like
think
Prison
to
Break
become
esque.
Prison Break. Get that scene where the guy gets trapped underground in the pipe where the water fills up. It's like no. But I'm thinking, maybe there should be something with piratism and Jack Sparrow where like alcoholism makes you slightly more effective in game. It gives you like a buff of like not being hassled by the police as much because like he's a wreck, he's not going to do anything, and next thing you know he's just stolen your ship. It's just like, oh shit.
Drinking mega pints of wine, mate.
Yeah,
megabyte. So you've both come up with some really good sort of points that would have made this pirate treasure hunt way more insane than it was. There is a necessity within me that everything has to make some form of sense. Maybe it's autism, I don't know. But if you'd have ran with the Hoarders Hunt event, you'd have a grasp on what I'm trying to sort of convey is, yeah, you can have it up, but it really doesn't make sense just having it there and people trying to guess half of a puzzle, and because there's no sort of feedback to know whether you've got it or not. If you go up to a door and you put a key in the door and the door unlocks and you know you got the right key, cool. But if it's not going to unlock because it's certain time that it can't lock until, and it gives you no feedback at all, you're very much lost, like double guessing yourself. Like you might have everything correct, but you're going around and going it wrong. So if you put out question 1 or mission number 1, once that is solved and it unlocks everything for the rest of the community, it's like, cool, okay, we're on to step 2 now. Yeah, you've got that validation, you've got that feedback, you know you're on the right path. There is a lot more they could have done with this. So, for instance, the first Sea of Thieves one gave you the code BITLY, and then it was SOT fruit. And people identify, okay, that's bit.ly, who had a slash SOT fruit, go on the website, cool, it opened up a OneDrive, had images with ciphers and pictures of fruit that were like, you had to organize which order and which way around the fruit was. It was in game as well, like, so you were getting the code for which order it was, then you were aligning the pictures, and then you were getting which was a type of cipher code, and then it just went so deep into it there. And one of the feedbacks from the quiz was like, find this area, the bluest of blue, and it was like a tiny bit on the picture. If you follow the clues, you end up at it. You take the hex code from that, and that hex code for the color was the code word to unlock the next stage.
Ooh.
It was interesting, and when you go into, like, say, down the rabbit hole, they completely screwed it. But I think it was the 3rd or 4th week. It was just too hard, and someone magically came up with the answer. And even if you go back and watch the solve videos, there's just a gap in the knowledge. So it's clearly someone from Rare reached out and was like, "Yo, put this into the solver." Pass it around.
I think, like, who's mission guy? Tyler, isn't it?
No. That would be Elliot Maltby's missions, but I don't think he would be in charge of this. This is more of a marketing.
Whoever's in charge of this stuff, just give us a shout. We'll square you away. Easy to do. Like you said with the code, it has to make sense, right? So why didn't they have, like, the first part? The first part did something, it gave you Crimson. The second part was Skull for Pirate Week, and then, like, it was the next part after that was a bit of Norse mythology, with like Odin's moon or something like that. And then you have to find out the next bit, go onto like the Galactopedia, go onto one of Odin's moon's pages, because obviously Odin's a system, go to a moon on there, whatever. And there's a little symbol on the web page, so it took you out of game as well. I think that would be really cool.
Be a way to get the community involved as well, because people would be like, right, you look at this, I'll look in game, you go to this area, I'll go to that area, and it takes a lot of organisation and leadership to do that. And we had that within the Sea of Thieves community for Hoarders Hunt, where it was just Reddit, one post on Reddit that was running with us. It just lacked that community spirit. It was like, oh, I'll just check in later on when it's sorted. But why was there any sort of reason to rush to it to try and solve anything when you're waiting till the Wednesday for the last bit of the code to be released?
I think the community spirit, though, is sort of like it generally goes this way when a patch hasn't really hit the spot where it's been quite unstable, which I've been playing for the last 3 days, and I really love where it's going currently. I think it's in a much better place. I've been having a lot of fun recently. It's also coming on the tail end of summer, so the community's down anyway a little bit. So having events and stuff like that in game around summer, you're always going to have less of a community because people have families and stuff. They got to go on summer holidays and all that sort of stuff. But I think definitely there is a call for these events, definitely using the lore, making players travel around the verse to see interesting points of interest, like, for example, Benny's Henge, and like placing items in game that the assets can be used, like for codes and stuff like that. That would be brilliant.
You imagine, like, I think one thing that would be cool is if they incorporated a bit of each career loop on there. So, like, the people that do bunkers, then obviously you've got your data pad part. People that trade cargo, maybe you can start, where like the golden tickets are in the little crates. like people that go exploring. Maybe, and I've just thought of one that'd be good. You have some element that's inside a giant rock that requires like 20 different moles fully crewed to like crack, like a massive rock on like Aaron's Halo, and then like everyone's got to like pull together to crack this huge rock, and then it comes out with this massive like, I don't know, the big skull on the inside of it or something like that. Once it's all popped.
I'd like to see some like data runners as well. Like you get
Yeah.
3 NPCs in a Drake Herald, and it's just sort of like they're all flying off in different directions, and you've got to like interdict them before they get to the jump gates, because the jump gates aren't currently active.
Yeah.
But you know, you could say there's a jump hole here. This guy's trying to get there. You need to make sure he doesn't make it, and it's up to the community to interdict him
Yeah.
and disable him and retrieve the stuff. Like, that'd be cool.
I think it'd be cool if there was also a not a world's first sort of like prize, but like the first 300 got something else.
Like a
Give you a
mention.
reason to want to do it. Yeah, like a mention or like on the coins or something like that.
Yeah.
Like if you looked hard enough, like it had everyone's name on the back of the coin or something. Not
What-
300, obviously, because it's a bit wild, but or a personalized coin.
They could have done something that would have alleviated some of the issues that have had been brought up this week with those cargo crates, and that could have been, guess what?
Well, yes.
You guess correctly for hint number 1. You get the 1 SCU crate, and then the 2, and then the 4, and then and then
they could have still monetized it, mate. Like,
oh, of course.
Oh, you've guessed the whole code. There you go. You've got the 4 SCU box, but if you still want the 8 SCU one, you got to buy it.
Yeah. All my store credit would have gone in that. I'd have been like, yep,
Yeah, exactly.
all of the boxes. But
Yeah,
all of them.
I don't know a single person.
Yeah, I think the only downside, like if we're talking anything that I've seen of recent when it comes to this event, is definitely that pack that dropped.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Warbond, not
Yeah.
LTI, and
6
like they put the
months.
crates in there. It's only 6 months insurance on ships that you could get at a much reduced price if you just upgraded to them properly with like the CCU chain. I just like there was very little thought that went into that pack, and they were just like, we're just going to put these 4 items in there because people are literally going to spend over £500 for boxes that just have a skull on them. And it's like, this is the point where I do hope that the community just turns around and just goes, we're not going to pay it for that 500 for those boxes, but if you want to package them into a much smaller thing that we could use our store credit for, we'll soak it up. And it's like, I think that's a healthier way of doing it.
Well, it's marketing tactics, isn't it? If you create FOMO for something which people are not going to have, it's still creating like a FOMO model, so that next time when something does come out that is cheaper, you go, oh, do you remember that $600 Warbomb box? Well, I can get this much cheaper with something. There is still like a little drag in me that was like, I'd love to be able to go and buy that, just to have those boxes. But common sense prevails. You're not going to spend $600. Like new money, never.
Not just because honestly, it is just for those boxes. That's the only unique element that's worth.
And then you get 4, just 4 of them, isn't it, or 5?
Yeah.
Like either way, I want like a C2 full of boxes like that. Yeah, carrying cargo stuff. Like,
or at least like make it a livery that you can put on any kind of box. You know, liveries for boxes, maybe.
Yeah.
You know,
no, because then you could make those boxes and give them to other people, which then defeats the point of buying them.
No one's spending $600 on boxes, though.
This is the thing. I do want liveries to not be like these tins of paints that you carry around. I would love to see them be a digital asset that is stored on your Mobiglass, so that when you're in your hangar, you could just be like, boop, boop, yeah, I want to have the best in show paint this time, and then this like drone comes in and paints your ship. Like that would be sick, rather than actually having it to store it physically.
Supposedly they've pledged, haven't they, to make it a hex code in the end that you will be able to edit.
They talk about the hex code stuff, but they're erring around that because we haven't heard much in a long time, and that would take away the monetary side from their liveries.
It could just be worse that's in alpha. It could be one of these things, when they say, oh, we're not going to sell ships anymore and all that jazz, but, you know. They've already done it. It's
Well,
already in the old version of the game, isn't it? So it just needs reinvigorating and bringing back in. Like, they wouldn't go back on that, surely.
The hex code stuff was never in game. Like, maybe on a dev side, it possibly
It was showcased though, wasn't it? There's videos out on YouTube of it.
They showcased it, but it's not been implemented fully because like they would have a lot more liveries available if they did. They would be using it on their end and selling that anyway. But,
and correct me if I'm wrong, but the color is when you order your ship from the ASOP terminal, your ship is built. It's like fabricated there and there, isn't it? So why can't it be fabricated with a different color?
Yeah, or like in the Expanse when they park the Rocinante, you got Amos going out there and using like this laser tool, and he's just laser. Like if there's a cartridge that you could like plug into your multi-tool, and you just like switch it to the livery you want, and you just spray your ship. Even that'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
But it's all connected to your Moby-Glass, and like when you complete missions, these rewards get put into the data section of your Moby-Glass. It doesn't actually use space. That would be sweet.
Can you imagine branding your ships for your org? Like, if that was allowed in, like, people would put
Big,
so much
naked guy with a chest.
People would put so
with
much
our
care and
current org
attention.
logo.
It would just be incredible to see what the community comes up with.
Can you imagine the abuse of the system?
All of the 890s are going to have swastikas on them. Like, that's the first thing that everyone's going to do. It's going to be something stupid. It's going to be some symbol or something like that.
Yeah, but everyone's going to draw a cock on their ship. Like, so what?
Yeah, but that's the.
Don't forget the swastika was reappropriated from Buddhism for the sign of peace.
But no, you know what I mean. People are going to do it not for that reason. People are going to do it for that.
I mean, look at Habbo Hotel, right?
Yeah, but, mate, look at Call of Duty when they created the emblem creator. It was the prime reason why you can't have your own custom emblem. Stuff like that. Why you shouldn't give people that opportunity because. But
they gave players the rope. The hanging happened when people reported those players, and then rightly they got banned.
I think the hanging happened. The hanging happened when you gave people that are going to do that the tools to do that.
Yeah.
It wasn't the people reporting, because that's like I have no idea. Like, I've got no analogies for it, but man, you give a shooter a gun, they're gonna shoot.
Exactly.
Like,
let the Chads identify themselves. I still would stand by, like, freedom of speech. I know it's a massive topic in the news at the moment, but it's important because people, if you don't give them the space, they'll go and find somewhere else where they are able to, and then end up in an echo chamber, and that is far worse than being able to have adult and educated conversation about things. And also, people wear what they are when they're typing. If they identify as some, like, right hand or left hand, whichever way, you find out about that because they are inadvertently advertising that. So yeah, let them be reported. And
I'll just say freedom of speech and vandalism don't go hand in hand.
I am fully against having custom skins that you can design yourself.
Yeah, because you know what we'll see? We'll see more space kitty, and more like, you'll see a Drake Herald dressed up like Barbie, and it will be terrifying. It would be like, I want to chase it.
I've always wanted a pink Herald.
Yeah,
a luminous pink Herald.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
That's what I've always wanted. But no, it's a bad idea. Very bad idea.
Disagree. Hard disagree. Hard disagree.
I will tell you the reason after this. It's not suitable for stream. But I will tell you the reason why I do not want this to be in the verse at all. But anyway, I don't mind them being like the containers, the paint cans they are, for one reason. Once everything's physicalized and there's no pledge store or whatever, however it works, you're going to be able to sell and trade in game those paints. If they're like a digital asset on your Moby-Glass, you might not be able to do that.
I mean, like 20 or 50 biz, like Eclipse paint.
Yeah, and you'll be able to give that. You'll be able to sell that paint in the verse for like however many, like 100 mil probably, and then patch cycles, whatever. If for whatever reason it gets reset, you get it back, you sell it again. I think there's
people who do that now, isn't there?
That's going to be one reason to keep it. Yeah, exactly.
Artifact
people
hunting.
do it. But yeah, that's What's next on the agenda?
So we've
it
had
was
I think we didn't really touch much on
Blockade Runner.
Blockade Runner.
Yeah. So okay, well then, what have you? I mean, we all know we got involved with it yesterday, but we didn't do Blockade Runner. We blockaded the blockade anti-blockade runners.
Yeah, you did it.
It's Pirate Week. Come on,
It's Pirate
You
Week,
can't-
so yeah.
It was silly them putting both these events on at the same time.
What did they expect?
Exactly. So we tried to commandeer as much as problematic as we could. Found quite a few issues with it, to be honest. That whole system. You can't sell the 16 on 32 SCU containers as a Prolenode. You can't sell them because we all are crime stats, so we can't take them to the mission receiver, and we couldn't take them to Brios or anything like that because they have a max capacity size for what cargo containers you can put into the thing. So yeah, I think I don't think they anticipated pirates on a on a pirate week with an event that's happening where people had to reappropriate cargo from AI. They didn't expect players to reappropriate cargo from players.
Yeah,
which is a silly oversight.
It makes no sense, really, does it? But like,
yeah.
Have you tried playing it lawfully?
No.
Well,
yes.
I mean, yeah, I did the cargo start of it, and I went in with my C2 fully tricked out. I had my ATLS in there, and I was doing like I'd take out all the stuff from my C2, get down, like get into my ATLS, open up the door, which was really cool. You can do that whilst you're in the exosuit, and then I was just just moving crates and stuff around with that from ship to ship. Loved it. I think it's great. The ATLS does not work well in closed spaces though. Like the crates just come at you and they smash into everything. There's no skill issue about it because when you move your mouse wheel, it doesn't go back, forwards or backwards like the other stuff does. So yeah, the cargo stuff, fun. Really loved it. Great. Rewards though, I checked it out, and for like looting an entire C2 and like I think it was there was 2 C2s I looted. I filled my C2 all the way up. I only clocked in like some reason like there was no reward whatsoever when you traded it in lawfully, but people were saying that when you traded it in somewhere else, you were getting a lot more for it.
Yeah, if you gave it back to the mission receiver, so if you took it back to like Everest, for example, last night was where it was located at, you don't get anything.
Okay.
But the idea was to sell it other places. We tried to sell it a Brios. It was one of the other breaker yards, Orinth, and we had issues. They didn't receive it. They didn't want to buy it.
And what were you getting when you were selling it at Brio?
We didn't end up selling it. We ended up pissing off a group of people, and sort of all attention went from looting cargo to killing people.
Looting corpses.
Yes.
With the help of the spy.
So, yes, we did have a spy. Is our spy still in chat?
Make yourself known.
Make yourself known, Piranha Mole. Because that was peak gaming. It was just peak gaming.
Couldn't happen at a better time either.
Well, this is the thing. It was really good combat, ship to ship combat. It was great. We had a little fleet. It was against the Hammerhead. And last episode, we were all discussing about how mastermodes made this game, not enjoyable. But yeah, I think last night was probably one of the better like ship to ship combat like events we've had in a while. So
yeah, we ticked all the boxes as well. We did like the meta game inside of it. We used intelligence, as well as like doing to start with. We were doing the cargo stuff, and then obviously once we managed to infiltrate the other group with our mole, then yeah, we riled them up a little bit more, and then proceeded to slap them twice.
Can I just give a holler out for ballistics?
Yes.
They are back and in greater numbers. Like the Ares Inferno, oh my god. Like Magnus told me specifically that the sound from his perspective, where he was in relation to my ship, when he heard that gun go and he saw the rounds going downrange and hitting the hammerhead, he was enjoying himself very much, and so was I. So yeah, that was great. We knocked out a few turrets with it, and yeah, it goes through the shields now because previously,
Yeah,
just
they
not too
broke it.
long ago, they broke it completely where it wouldn't pass through shields. So yeah.
Yeah, it was very fun, very fun. But yeah, I mean, it was a good event. I don't. It was actually probably, and you have your own opinions on this. Probably the best event they've probably ever come up with. Like having that at a station, the station was blocked. Had to go and do all the looting. Like OG Jumptown was probably like better, but now it's nerfed into the ground. There is literally no point on doing Jumptown. Um, then yeah, I think this is probably the best event they've got out there that they've
I,
had in a while.
I think there's definite room for them to expand upon it.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to see, like, because there's meant to be stages, right?
Mm.
And you see a javelin in like one of the pictures and stuff, and it's like, well, there wasn't a javelin there. Like,
No,
are we
because
meant to,
it's basically a reskin, isn't it, of the old Xenothreat mission?
or was it
Is it
Nine
the old
Tails
Xeno?
Lockdown?
It might. I can't remember,
I
but
think
like
it
the Zeta
is. I think
Prolonide
it's
is.
Nine Tails Lockdown because that was where you had to protect the terrapins and you had to get med supplies to the station. Um, and then you'd go to the next round, which was the combat round where you take down the fleet.
Yeah, it is
Um,
is basically a reskin of another event. Because even the Zeta Prolonide was used on another event. The same situation. You had to loot it and then
yep.
add it in at a station. But yeah, it's effectively a reskinned event, but it worked a bit nicer how it was at a station.
Yep.
Kind of did almost like it was almost like a PO lockdown, which is quite cool, which I quite like.
I really enjoyed Nine Tails Lockdown back in the day, and
Yeah,
like to see this one back, it's great, but it does feel a bit like there's not a lot of players engaging with it at the moment. When you go out there and you see all these different markers, the cargo's not being um, dropped into stations quick enough, and there's things there that tell that the community's down a bit or they're not engaging with it. And for that, I'm not surprised if you're following an objective and you're not getting a reward for it. No one's going to really do that because it's a waste of your time. Um,
yeah.
so you definitely need to sort that payment thing out.
Well, I think there's
Um,
definitely server meshing is going to be something that vastly improves it, because even if someone on your shard isn't like doing it, and there's no one local to you that's effectively doing the mission, there might be someone else on a different server, different shard, whatever, in like the NA side of the world that is doing the mission, and it's going to be more communicative based, where like instead of handing in like 190 SUs or Zeta Prolonide, wherever it is, it's going to be hand in 1 million Zeta Prolonide, and it's going to be across the entire community.
yeah,
I think would be quite nice. Like a video game that I played, there's loads of video games that do it, but
and
like Rainbow Six Siege, they have community events where it's like headshot X amount of players, and like that's up in like the tens of thousands or like the hundreds of thousands, and it's a
you see
community event.
you'll see like a flotilla of like holdies going out there, and just loads of little cargo ships just like
Yeah,
loading them up, and then they come back to the station. You've got guys in their ATLSs just like stripping these ships as they come in
yeah.
whilst being covered by other players.
If it
Yeah,
was a
it's cool.
percentage reward based mission, like that would make so much more sense to have
Yeah,
orgs then switch the game on for the day, fill up half a server, but they're doing that. They've got the ATLSs, the MPV 1Ts at stations, and they're like offloading these whole seas and stuff like that. Then they would actually give a reason for that. But at the minute, it's random guys going out in their connies,
yeah.
like doing one, two boxes at a time. It's not worth it.
The kind of like incentives for unlawful behavior are there because you get a higher payout,
Yeah,
but the incentives for group gameplay is like the thing that they need the most. So yeah, they need to start thinking in that area because, like you say, there's just you can't just have drips and drabs of people trying to do a group thing. everyone needs to pull together.
Yeah, exactly. I imagine if they did after the event, there was like 100 mil across the verse, or even like 1 billion across the verse, like AUEC. And if you managed to deposit as an org 20% of that amount, the total amount, and you did 20% of it, you would then get obviously 20% of the entire reward value. It would give orgs a reason to want to just grind it. Man, our org would put a bloody shift rotor in.
Yeah.
The EU team would then fly out and do all this, and it'd get taken over by the NA team, and it'd be like a Chinese Zerg on Rust, where like it just never sleeps. It's just a constantly like rotating like machine, and I think that's this. That could have been one of the first full org-based gameplay sort of things that we were doing, like the T0 org mission. I think it would have been really cool.
Not just like the monetary rewards though, like
No, yeah.
you know, they've got like a specialized Idris or something like that. So your org's just right guys, we need to get this, we need to get it, and we can disable it, but then bring it back and repair it.
Yeah, like the
That'd be
last time there was
awesome.
an Idris out. I'm not going to mention the organization or the group because
They did a good job.
for whatever reason.
They
But
did.
they did a good job of stealing the Xenothreat Idris, and they held it for I think it was like 5 days, 6 days, might have even been more, might have been 7 maybe. But they did that as an org. They had skeleton crews that were constantly playing the game. There was someone always aboard that ship moving it constantly, and they did it on the same server for like 5, 6 days. And
Incredible.
they will, because of the group it is, they will never ever see the recognition from CIG, but they seriously do deserve that recognition. Because have you ever tried? I know 30Ks are no longer a thing, but have you ever been on a server and just randomly it's just cracked itself and the server shut down? Like, and this all managed to do it in for 5 or 6 days and keep this one server alive with this Idris. It's such a, and as well, it's also marked, wasn't it? You could follow this Idris. Like,
I mean, did the
where it was.
players stop the servers from dying, or was it CIG? Like, I think it's the networking guys at CIG that stopped the servers from crashing. But these guys keeping it out of other players' hands.
Yes,
I
they were
mean, with
constantly
that,
being attacked as well.
It wasn't tracked.
No, is it not? Okay.
it wasn't tracked. So like, there was a big thing with the Idris where you could just jump out and no one could touch you.
Yeah.
Like, so that, you know, if you've got enough people to do it, you can do it. But like, yeah, like as you say, it's the server that's the thing that will ultimately ruin your day. But
I
not
think that's
anymore.
something we need. We need in the game now. Even now, out of any events, you should be able to get. You know, there's a javelin that can't for some reason get off of, what is it, Magda or Daymar or something like that.
Well,
And it randomly spawns in and it's just stuck. But imagine if there was one that was just floating around. But I had this idea before. You could take it exactly the same way the Nine Tails mission worked.
hold on. Go back to your thing about the javelin. Because I know about the javelin wreck, but this is the first time I've heard about a javelin spawning on that planet that can't move.
I don't know if it's still there, or if it was just a bug in one of the patch cycles. But one that you know about it, didn't you?
No.
And no, there's a javelin. So AI crewed, fully set up, that would spawn in atmosphere on one of the planets, and because it's AI pathing, it wouldn't fly out the planet.
I know there was an Idris that spawned that couldn't for some reason get out during the event. I didn't know about javelin.
Sure, it was a javelin. I'm sure it's a javelin. But even say an Idris, if they respawned the Xenothreat Idris, but my idea was there's the radar room that was broadcasting an SOS signal, but because of the conflict that happened on the ship, the doors were like smashed up; they couldn't be opened. So effectively, you could crew this Idris and fly it around, all this javelin, but there's no way that you could turn off the tracking transponder beacon that was broadcasting this SOS signal. So you would constantly be tracked, even if you was in deep space. It would put out a ping. I think that would have been really, really cool, and that should just be there now, like in the background, like all the time, because it gives that org the reason to want to do things.
Yeah, I think that there's a big issue of why there's a lot of players not in at the moment, and that is the constant focus on combat. Like, there needs to be lucrative gameplay with all other professions. Like there's little focus on mining, salvaging. I mean, cargo's got focus because of the patch, but ultimately there's things which salvaging was doing really well, and now that cargo has come in, moving the larger, if you opt in for the larger crates, I think it's the 16 SCU crates on the Reclaimer, they're an absolute bastard to get out when you're putting them on the lift. But if you go for, I think it's the 8 SCU crates, you know, you can get them. But it's like there's a lot of ships now with this cargo feature that need a bit of TLC, and they should also be doing events around this sort of thing. Like there should be like gold rushes, like slightly more rare ore material gets somewhere in the verse. It's up to people to track it, find it, and bring it in as much as possible. We don't see anything like that. It's all based around combat. So I think we need to give a bit of love to the people that don't actually want to do combat all the time.
Yeah, the 100% agree.
I think what you've both said for like last 10 minutes could be solved, but there's a sort of a monetary issue that is plaguing the community at the moment. Is just people's wallets are consistently being predated upon. I mean, we talked about this before with the F7A event. If they say, for instance, 4.0 comes in and they do a wipe, no one's got any money. You put Jumptown in at that point, and you put in missions like the Xeno threat, so you've got to complete the missions, but after you complete those missions, you get the ability to buy, say, an F8A this time, but it's going to cost you 34 million. You tell me that people are not going to be predating on Jumptown, and they'll have all of the information and all of the data they require, but because obviously there needs to be funding for the game to come out, for the company to continue to run, it will be involved with like, oh, here's an upgrade that you need to buy a ship for. Like, yeah. I think if they just took one event and just did that, you'd just have everyone flocking back to the game. Everyone would be in there and server meshing. Everything would be tested. There'd be so many people online. It's just that financial issue that just seems to plague the progression. Such a shame.
Well, the company's a business. Like it's all about marketing. Marketing runs CIG. We've seen it in everything that's happened within the last like 6 months to a year in this game, and that's one thing I dislike severely the project over, is they could do that quite easily. They could literally release the Idris for purchase in game for like a bill in game. Consider it's an org asset, it should be a big value of money, and release Jumptown pre-nerf prices. Like Jumptown's actually usable again. You're going to see these orgs fighting over Jumptown locations. Like they're going to be fighting because they're going to want this massive amount of money to accumulate into the org bank account so they can buy this Idris in game. And what does CIG lose? Nothing. They get player base. Next major patch cycle, the Idris gets wiped anyway. Like what's to lose? Why wouldn't you want to do that?
And you company that with a referral bonus as well, and people will drag other people back into the game. I personally haven't recommended in quite some time now because I love playing with other players, and there just has been such a massive die-off of about 75-80% of the community, it seems, is just not interested anymore.
That's a bit high.
It's not, though. I'm going off the numbers from our own org and our own events, and look at the number of events that we've able to like actually put on a man. It's just not. But then I know what you're gonna say. You got the summer. People have been out touching grass. They've got Space Marines, and they're the very valid points. But
those people, those aren't my points. Like the main feature is those people are still playing. When you have a look at them on Discord, they're playing, but they're off doing other things. Like they're doing salvaging or cargo, or Space Marines 2 has just come out, so they're doing that. There's, you know, there's a lot of reasons why people are in, but to say 75-80%, that's a big number, and I would say it's probably more likely that you're seeing probably about maybe 30% of the player base has dropped off.
Maybe I should maybe make it a bit more of a fuller point. When I say drop off, I don't just mean that, okay, you've got a room of 100 people, only 20 are still playing the game. You can have a lot more playing the game, but for a lot less time. So it's incorporated.
Yeah.
Last night was the first time I actually played Star Citizen since Master Modes was implemented.
I was supposed to go to bed, and I just literally just brought up Discord. I made a bet. I was like, if the boys are in, I'm going to see what's going on. And then I jumped into chat
like,
because there was so many of you on for like the first time in weeks. And the first thing you said to me is like, "Are you in game? If not, you need to get on." Before I'd even said hello, like, I was like, "Okay, fine. I'm logging on." I was meant to be going to bed, but yeah, jumped straight on.
Too bad.
It was like dropping a fucking Charlie 1. It was like, we need people online now.
Yeah.
Like, and people arrived. People turn up.
I mean, I arrived. I put a few shots onto the hammerhead, but then that was it. And then
because they decided to bring a PvE ship to a PvP fight.
And everyone was like, "Oh, should we go and clear crime stats?" I'm like, "No, please don't. I'm here for the long haul." Like, but yeah.
But yeah, like going obviously the previous point, we could easily, and as painful as it is, we could quite easily resuscitate majority of the player base back into the game.
Just do something that involves gameplay and not actual money. Like it's a massive crisis going on literally worldwide. The economy is about to crash. Like, just read the room. Like, people need a bit of enjoyment in life.
They do need to. They don't. Like, they do need to make money out of this, because it's literally the only money they get is from us. Like, there's marketing stuff that goes to Squadron 42, but like, they do have to put, like, they do get predatory in some instances that I don't like, but when every time there's a patch drop or an event drop, if they're not putting stuff there to sell, then that's only hurting our future with the game.
I hear you. I do hear you, but there does need to be a bit
of
goodwill.
You don't have to purchase it.
Then the last time there was a bit of goodwill was only because of community pressure, and they included the Xeno threat armor, which somehow still caused controversy because people are like, "I don't want to be Xeno threat. Xeno threat are far right." I'm like, I wasn't sure if people were role playing at this point, because you're reading on places like Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter, like, right, it's a free armor setting game. Like, show some be a bit appreciative. Do you know what I mean?
You can just put it on your armor stand in your hangar. Like, you don't even need to wear it.
Yeah, it could be a trophy. Put it on the armor stand, which obviously you have to buy from subscriber store, which I don't believe is working just yet. At least if it is, I haven't seen it. I might try it, but yeah,
I think
where have it there as a trophy in your persistent hangar. Make this game what you want it to be, but there's just got to be just a single bit of goodwill. And the F7A event, I don't think will go down with the same sort of like. There'll be a lot of friction, shall we say, with the community if they try to do the F8A the same way.
Because they did say that the only military ship that would potentially go out would be the F7A. And they always said that it would go out close to the same time as Squadron 42. So the FAA, I don't think they should do, because if that is the case, then why not they do like military variants of pretty much like the Aegis ships, perhaps,
The M2A. We need the M2A. We absolutely need that M2A.
That's just opening up a can of worms that would just put a bad name on this game. The thing where I think it really works is now that we've got a relatively decent sized player base, they need to do events and they need to work more with deliveries. So you go, if you're going to be in this event, if you're going to take part, you need to do this event like 3 times. And then when those boxes are ticked, you get a special livery in your hangar that 10 years down the line, when the people are still playing this game, they go, "That's a really nice livery. How did you get it?" I got it because I was there when this event happened.
And the reason why you would be able to say that, not just, "Oh, this event happened," is no good story starts with a salad, right? You can't just go, "Oh, it has a really nice livery. Where'd you get it from?" "Well, I bought it for the store for like $2.80 back in the day, but don't make it anymore." Like, come on, man. Like, if you add story is part of everything that we do. I've studied story for years as like a side project to help with photography and videography. Everything we do, when we even just like, "Hi, how's your day been?" I'm expecting a story from you. What's up? I'm not so good. Tell me. You get story. Everything we do, we sit down, we watch movies, we read books. Everything is story. It's part and parcel of our community, our heritage, our culture, and just everything bundled into it. So why not include this in the game? And it doesn't even have to be like, oh, here's the F8A. That was just an example. Why not have it? Like, for instance, right, we went out, didn't we, during Xenothreat, and we captured as many Xenothreat ships as we could, and we lined them up and got photos of all of them. We finessed, we conducted science on that game to get those ships.
That was org.
Exactly,
well.
yeah. We brought so many different things. We did like multiple aspects of it, and then we sort of scienced it down and tested and adjusted to a minimum crew that we could have. And it come down to, I think it was like 1 or 2 ships that we needed to go out and capture these Xenothreat ships. Why not make it so that we got the skin from that? The paint, the tint, or whatever word you want to put on it. Why could we not get that? Why not make it so, okay, cool, you've done the event. Now here's the ability to go and buy the Gladius for 18 million. Oh, you want the Valkyrie? 34 million. Like, make it hard for people to get. Fine. But get the data, make it free, and then let people enjoy. Like, if you see it in MMOs, don't you? People grinding for days, weeks, months, years even, to try and get to a certain stature, to wear the armor, to go around and go, oh, look at me. And then they've got a story to go with it. Give the player base just that little bit of goodwill.
I think we need a lot of in-between event stuff. Like, we've got nothing happening now from Pirate Week. We've got nothing happening to IE, I don't think. So I think one of the things we were talking about is career-based missions. Realistically, they're not hard to implement, I don't think. Like, why can't we, with the Idrises in game, right? Why can't they put the Idris in the store for $1 billion and let people buy it and fly it in game? It wipes at the end of a patch. What's the big deal? So then we have patch related related stuff around the career lines. So then you have like your cargo. Why can't we have every 6 hourly a fire sale? And the price of diamonds in one place goes up by 400%. And then it's only then sold, all the stock's reduced, and then it's like the farthest point in the verse is like one of the best places to buy it. Cause people to want to do the cargo. Then people want to do bunkers because there's a career that's around that. But then the other sort of thing I thought we should have is, we've all played RuneScape, right?
No.
When you got to level 99, well, okay.
When
you got to level
definitely.
99 in a skill, yeah, you definitely played it.
You definitely were the guy that met me when I was level 5 at Lumber Ridge, and you were like, "Come with me," and then you took me into the Forbidden Forest, and then shanked me and left me there and took my boots. Like,
but like,
honestly,
we've all played it, or know of it. And
in a nice way though, not like you do, you pirate.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no. If we get to level 99 on one of the skills, so you get to level 99 mining, you got your mining cape, right? That was then like what you was given to you. Why don't we have depending on what the missions are, so all the lawful missions and all the illegal missions, we got that cape. So if you completed that rep line in that patch cycle, you got an Eckhart security job cape, which had like an Idris on it or something like that, because that's one of the pivotal things in that career, that mission line. But it was then branded, so it was an Idris, but then it was like 3.24.1, and then you could display those all in your hangar, and it was like patch related. So like when the patch wiped, you went, oh, you know what? I've had this one cape or one banner that I've got from every single patch cycle for the last like 3 major patch cycles. I need to get it for this new one. You don't want to play the game, but you have to, because you need to continue getting this thing, because otherwise you're going to have a fucking space in your collection. And it doesn't even engage people to play the game. It forces people to play the game. Like there's games like the Hunt Showdown, when there's events that are happening. If you don't take part in that event during that period, you will forever miss that stuff. So I think that there should definitely be something like that. And it's free, isn't it? If someone got a little banner in game, it's free to implement for CIG, but it forces people to play the game and buy ships.
There's a lot of things that I really agree with there, and I think also GFA also mentioned that, you know, why don't they you have a mission where people have to contribute to unlock certain parts, deliver X amount SCU gold to a certain place and stuff like this. So how many of you were here, because this is going on the whole theme of player choice and player choices, and that should define the look of your character. How many of you were here when the MSR came out and they did the Night Runner paint?
So I don't even know
I wish
when
I was.
MSR was released. It's
Beautiful
Crusader,
skin.
so
when the MSR came out, they had a mini game. You basically had to find the belligerent duck, and it's based on the website. You go there, you try and find it and stuff like that, and it was a mini game, and you get this paint. It's called the Night Runner paint. It's the black and gold one that you got for the MSR. Like, it's stuff like that I'd like to see. Like, if they were to do Xeno Threat again, players that join the UEE, if they do that mission first and help the UEE and have a rep with them, then a livery should get put in their hangar that represents that. If they've gone and helped the Xeno Threat, they should get the Xeno Threat one, but they can't get both. That's the thing. So you can really define that sort of thing. I think that'd be important.
Decision-based flare would be a really cool thing. Get one or the other, and even I can see what people would do though. People would then have second accounts to go and.
That's fine. Do it, because
or
it
get the
just
other side of it.
means it just means more people in game for longer, and it also
Yeah.
balances it out, because you'll have more people that be able to help each other out getting the pirate flare. I do like how you mentioned about mining though in RuneScape, because that was my highest level in RuneScape, and getting like the mining cape, and that's the sort of thing that I would like to see with the professions here. If you've spent X amount of time in a profession, what are the ways that it can be shown that you're actually of a level of experience in this profession than someone else. So that's really exciting.
I think the posters will be a missed trick. Do you know we've all got posters in our hangars now for like the Haunted Heartseeker poster and all that sort of stuff for the Coromor event, and we've got all of these like pyro posters for the sitcom last year. I think it was. Might be wrong.
You can have like a Xeno Threat "We Want You" poster, like just massive like triptych.
And you get a CDF version of it as well.
And you got a CDF version of it, but at the bottom of it, it was like patch cycle dated. So it was like, when was that was 2.3, wasn't it? 2.3.2 or something, wasn't it? Or 2.3? Was it flat 2.3 on the major patch release? But if I had that on the bottom of it, and then when the next Xeno Threat mission comes out, it's the same poster or slightly different variation of it, but you had to get it again because you would have a space that you won't have that accolade, time gated accolade. I think that would be the easiest thing for them to easily implement. They don't even need to show you the posters now. They can be prototypes, just give you that item in your hangar. And then when the hanging of posters comes out, like in Pyro, because it works in Pyro apparently, then you can hang them up.
Yeah.
But let people collect things now, because it gives people a reason to want to do things.
And don't just limit it just to the pledge store. Like, make it like a really rare drop in the loot table. Like, I really think that having things like the posters in around is just another reason for people to go out there and continue to explore. There's one thing that's concerned me lately, especially whether if you're pirate or if you're UEE. See how I dropped it back to the pirate thing, trying to help out here. But like, there is the loot table and what you can loot in different areas right now is not great. I think at the beginning it was you could get railguns and all kinds of crazy stuff. Probably too good, definitely, but it's really limited now, and they've reduced the amount of boxes that you get, so there's much less loot. And there's like each area, like if you go to a bunker, has specific set loot in the boxes. You can almost predict what you're getting in the boxes now, which is something that I think isn't great. You should be able to go to a place, find a grey box, open it up, and then one Thursday that you're playing, you get a really rare drop, and you get like a UEE "We Want You" poster, and you're just like, oh, that's great. I'm going to take this back to my hangar and put it up straight away. Then there needs to be, they really need to spice up the loot table, because at the moment it's just there's just too linear and there's not enough loot being dropped, even if it's just like drinks or anything to help your character out.
There's no good loot.
But
Yeah.
on that, if you raise the chance to get that loot, so you know, like how Call of Duty would power, like, oh, double XP weekend, but it'd be like double drop weekend for Star Citizen, get in game. P.S. Can you find this and be like some exclusive sort of really rare drop that only pops up during certain periods? And also,
I mean, that
on the point of GFA where it's like you continue missions on, why not have stuff that is so rare but for such a long period of time?
Yeah.
That you still got to work towards.
Can I name drop again?
I know what's going to happen. I know it's about to happen. Some Star Wars Galaxies is about to drop.
It is. I haven't spoken about it in ages, because you both talked to me about this.
I broke Sea of Thieves already, so go for it.
Sea of Thieves. I get one Star Wars Galaxies, but you have to look at the loot table for that, because like the dungeons, which are called heroics in that, they do this stuff where you don't just get a nice sword or like a new speeder or something like that. You can loot, like I was actually playing the other day. I looted a poster, and I was like, this kind of looks nice, but I have no use for it. Then someone turned around to me, oh, that poster's worth 4 million credits. I was like, what? Oh my god, why? Because it's such a ridiculous low drop rate. And they do the things with like these things called collections, where if you're a Jedi and you're going around, you want to collect holocrons and you're killing stuff, you've got like a 1 in 500 chance of like a holocron dropping, which means that the price of this object is insane because it is such a rare drop. But it makes players go out there and they farm, and they're just trying to find these things, and then they sell it on the market, and it's like, there, it's done. And they don't even they're objects that look nice, so people don't just buy it to like use it in their collections, they also buy it to show it in their house that they have in game. And that's the sort of thing that I'd like, we kind of seeing with the the Hazian artifact in Star Citizen.
Hazian artifact.
Help
is
me
that
out,
the one
chat.
from the
yeah, when they went to Pyro for the first time and he wanted to buy it, the Hazian or Hazian artifact.
No idea.
This is me testing my limit of my law. What's that?
The Hadesian artifact.
Hadesian artifact, thanks. Yeah, so if you have a look at that, there was a time where you could loot that in crates, and you find like shards of that, which would be like, you'd find like flawless, broken, fragile. There's all different kind of things.
That thing.
Yeah, that thing there. So you could find fractured different pieces of that, and you're basically making up this artifact again. And the level of quality in each piece that you can find would differ. So to find a perfect piece would be like 1 in 500 chance. To find a broken piece would be like 1 in 100 chance. And depending on how lucky you are, you can sell that on the market.
I like that.
I really hope they go that way. That would be sick.
And then like unique ways to present it in your hab or your hangar. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Imagine like you sitting there and you just going around people's persistent hangars, personal hangars, sorry, and then like there's something like the fucking 5 pieces of Exodium, and you just go there and they've got all 5 pieces of this item, and it's just there displayed like 5 individual pieces of armor set, and they're hooked up on the back wall, all there with a nice display case. Even if the display case you have to buy on the subscriber store, whatever, but it's there. You can buy this item with real money to display your in-game found loot. I don't think would be a very bad idea. Wow. Come on, we've got so many ideas, CRG. Just hire us.
I think if when we do get this whole like persistent hab so you can go back to your actual home when you come in. There needs to be shelves, like as you walk in. Story. This is my story within the game. These are my artifacts that I have located or swapped or found, or take for instance.
They're doing the side rooms, aren't they?
Sorry.
They are. They're doing like the side rooms, aren't they? Which you're probably gonna have to buy, but like a side room, like a hab side room.
Yeah, that's not a good look if that's the case. But we'll see.
They're not gonna do it for free.
One big thing which they have made steps for, if you, I can't remember when it was, it's like 2 years ago now, but they did like a hot take on like lighting, and they did like a demonstration of this dude. He was sorry, this CIG dev, I cannot remember the name because it was so long ago, but he's like, hi, I'm the lighting guy, and then he was just moving this lamp around in different areas, and it's like, this is how we set the scene, this is how we set the feel, use the temperature, the color of the lamp, and
that was IC with the reclaimer, wasn't it?
No, this was longer, because the hab was based on Hurston, so I think it was Hurston. But I digress. This is the sort of thing that I'd like to see, and I do see CIG going in the right direction for it. The way they've set lighting up, the way that they've got habs and base building and crafting, like you can design this area, and you see situations where you can use like glow stick. What are they called again?
The Quick Pro.
Quick flare. That's it.
Quick flare one. Quick flare.
Yes. So like you can place them around, and they light the world around you. Like if you could get lamps and stuff like that for furniture, so you could like have diffuse soft like lighting, and then put your artifacts on display or your armor and stuff like that. You really sell the feeling of the room. If you want to be a pirate, make everything red. If you want to be UEE, have a soft cold blue corporate look. Like it's going in the right direction, just taking a bit of time.
Taking too long. But I mean, I suppose a lot of the design team are on other parts at the minute, and hopefully once 4.0 is out, Quadrant 42 is out, the Polaris is out, and all that sort of stuff, we will hopefully start seeing rapid advancements in a lot of stuff. I say that we won't, because then they're going to move to the Perseus and the Galaxy and the Iron Chats, and it's never going to be fast. But I know they're different design teams, but we kind of need the game developers on the game for a bit.
I think you were talking about Quanta and stuff like that.
I love the idea of Quanta. Quanta's amazing.
Providing we can really gain a grasp for it and it's not randomized.
Yeah,
which no goes against it, but they're talking about physicalizing it when it's in your local vicinity. And if we can gamify the system and go, right, okay, cool, let's force some element or resource to come from a particular location to this location, then we can hijack it. We know what we're getting, and then it raises. You can go anywhere from there. We've spoke about this before. I could do a whole podcast on this, but the ability to pirate supply lanes, to raise missions for people to come and counteract the pirate threat, which then has an implication to prices at the location, the availability of resources. Do they then start to pull that resource from a different location? It can go anywhere, and remain fluid, and that way you can really. I mean, they say they want to have the players have an impact on the system. It needs to happen. It's going to be amazing.
And you know what? Like, I think we're actually a lot closer to it than what we think, because the big 4.0 ticket is server meshing, and the cool thing with server meshing is you saw the mission refactor. So when server meshing comes in, they've mentioned that they're going to have to basically sort because server meshing touches every system. Everything needs to be relinked again, but once it gets sort of relinked, that's when they're going to start focusing on Quanta. And in terms of player base, like staying on and doing stuff more permanently, there's 3 things that I think will really help with that. That is Quanta, wear and tear, and crafting. Like, I think those three ticket items, when they're in, players won't just be playing and then I've got my ship now, I'm gonna go off and play Space Marines 2. They're gonna be there and they're gonna be like, you know what? I've I've got my wealth now. How do I make more money? Well, my orgs are they're using their P4s a lot. They're getting worse for wear, so I'm gonna create a factory line and build a load of P4s, and that's his job, keeping his org absolutely kitted out.
I'd love to see
You
this go
saw
really in
Blockade.
depth. So, like, you're replacing components and engines with better quality components to get the most out of racing, and then really get a bit of renown in the community. Right? Okay, he's got sick racing engines. I want to either spy on that guy or befriend him, or then the metagaming side of things comes in. I'll reach out to him in the real world, try and create an IRL relationship, find out where he's doing this and how he's doing it. Like, yeah.
Imagine it, right? Someone's come to you and gone, "Oh, hey, Wonder, I've never met you before, but so and so's told me to come to you because apparently you make the best Novatonk turret, and I need to kit mine out." And it's like, okay, great, I can help you. Or CJ, someone goes, "I heard that you can really trick out the Drake Herald's engine and make it faster than others by like 10%. Like, can you help me out? Tell
Really
me what I need
perfect.
to do." So, done.
Yeah,
That'd be incredible.
That component and component tweaking gameplay is it's going to be very good. I'd love to see like your P4s, but you'll sit there and you'll stumble across, you'll kill someone, and we as an org will know the names of the people in the org. But you kill someone in an org fight in like 5 years' time, and then this guy's holding Eason's P4. Like it's a customized. He's got his name.
We did get it back,
and that's it. And then we get it back. But we see this stuff go into circulation. It creates its own commodity value as well. Like obviously, if this Eason's P4 has a faster cycling rate of like 0.1 second, like faster, then obviously that's got its own thing. It increases the value over base P4, and stuff like that. It creates its own economy. Like we've seen it. Like one day we've played like when we played Valheim, and we played with Twitchy. He was the chef guy because he did everything chef based, so he would make sure we were all fed.
He is
like,
now
we've all played
Daddy Twitch.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Daddy
we've all
Twitch.
played games like that. Like there's a game like Elder Scrolls Online. I mained that for years. And in our org, we had someone that specifically dealt with newcomers into the org. So he would build training armor with training enchantments on, so he'd like, help those people out. And then after that, they'd then go on to the next person he dealt in certain arena sort of type battles that we ended up getting involved with. So there's everyone in the org had a place, and even if they didn't want to play at that moment in time, there was someone that needed their help. So they got on and they did that. That the camaraderie side of it. They actually gave a reason to play the game, and I'm looking forward to Star Citizen in like when this stuff's implemented into the game. Hopefully I get to see it in my lifetime. But hopefully one time it does like go to a release and work properly. One thing I'm hating that I know is going to happen is they're going to release Squadron 42 and the first 20 chapters, and immediately afterwards they're going to start working on the next 20 chapters of Squadron 42, and we aren't going to see the influx of devs coming back to the PU. Don't think that's going to be the case. They're going to go straight onto the next money making thing because it's business and they're doing it. I don't think we're going to see those devs.
As long as they work on something that can be brought into the PU, I don't mind that. But before because time's ticking, I wanted to ask you both a question, like kind of like, you know, and let's try and keep this as brief as we can. Like, I'll kick it off to kind of show you the answer that I kind of want, but I would love to know from each of you, when crafting comes in, no matter what the profession or something like that, if there was something in game that you could be renowned for, what would you choose that to be? For me personally, I'm really looking for the base building. I've got the Pioneer. I'd like to be that guy that goes, if you're building on that world, you need to get Eason to build your base because his one lasted longer against this storm that hit our base. The building didn't decay as fast, so go to him, he'll build it for you, and then you're just like going to all these missions. People are paying you ridiculous money because they want their base to last that bit longer. That's one of the things that I kind of had in mind for me. What would you guys have?
Racing engine.
Let's go.
I will go and learn so much stuff just to make a better racing engine.
Nice.
I don't know if it's something we'll ever get, but you know the nature of the player I am, and when base building comes in, I'm not thinking about ships, I'm thinking about bases. I would love to have a
Rainbow Six
so
Siege
the way
is
that
about to raise its head. Breaching
it's
charges.
so- yeah, it's no. It's simpler than that. Simpler than that. So breaking into bases and stuff like that. Like
Panic
we're
rooms.
gonna use like crypto keys and stuff to break into bases.
Yeah.
I would love to have like a plethora of crypto keys, and depending on what type of encryption or what kind of protection this base is running, depends on what type of crypto keys you have. I would love to like master that sort of gameplay where I could like this person's got like a hex password on their base, so I've got my hex brute force key. So now I just plug that one in. I've got them wait there, all quiet, fully stealthy gameplay. That's going to be my everything in this game. Is taking things that aren't mine.
Hold on. So you'd love to go up to someone's front door of a base, plug in your thing like R2D2, and just start typing away. Now imagine if they went, no, we're going to go a bit flamboyant here. They create their own mini operating system in the game where you can literally learn about this operating system through digital books you can find in game, or go to some kind of central library, shop, buy them, whatever. You literally sit on the game and maybe on the website and you learn about this operating system. So you can go up to a base door and you could potentially write an algorithm and save it and say, right, run that algorithm, or in real time try and actually hack in through the defense. That would be an amazing thing to do.
Imagine
that'd be cool.
Everyone had a Linux OS and they could code their own encryption system on their own Linux device. So then people like the likes of me, who I am actually currently learning Linux right now.
Kali OS.
So yeah, like that's it.
Can I just summarize
terminal in game, and you can just like hack your way in.
That'd be cool.
So basically, what you're telling me, CJ, is that you want to be the most renowned ethical. What's it?
No,
penetration
grey
test.
hat hacker.
No, I don't want to be renowned, because if you're renowned, means you're getting noticed.
Well, you don't have to be renowned by the actual character's name. You could be sort of like
pseudonym.
Yeah.
I want
like
to release YouTube
Black
videos
Death or
and
something.
It's YouTube videos of me rigging like people's turrets in their own base to fire upon their own like orc members, and just do that sort of destructive game. I'll release that YouTube video, and then that orc is going to go, oh, crap, that's me. And you go, oh, that's CJ, and then whatever. Like, and they'll kill on sight if they see me in the verse. Like, eventually they'll try. Chum. I've got some people that I need you to help out with.
I could just imagine someone running to their capital ship and going, "Oh God, something's not right!" Like going to their engineering screen, and then a message just pops up like, "You've been touched by jalapeno," and it's like,
yeah,
what? And then your ship just like deactivates, and you just float into the atmosphere of a planet. It's just like done.
But it's not even just that. Like sneaking onto other players' ships, like their capital ship, sitting in things. If I can get aboard their ship via that hacking system, and I hide in there, and I can pull their quantum drive out whilst they're like quantum driving or something like that, and I can jettison it. They are completely dead in the water as a capital ship. I know some capital ships probably end up having like 2 quantum drives or protection against that, but having that hacking capability where I can shut something down long enough for the boys to arrive playing Rule Britannia through VoIP, like that's
dude, I really like this idea. Like, genuinely, imagine you have like an MSR, like red or blue variant, and it's just pure like hacking ship. So he's gone from being a data carrier to a data, like, we're going to extract your data by force, take over, open ports, stop like engines or whatever, and it all runs on, say, that internal OS that is prevalent in the verse, that is not like an actual real life one. So no one actually gets a real life buff to that skill. you have a degree of knowledge of how an operating system would work, but you don't know specifically how this one works. Each individual players, like you say, like earlier we were talking about hashing your screen name, your game name. So that would be something where I couldn't use this specific algorithm off the shelf on a new player because it might work for that player, but it won't work for any other player in the player base. So you have to specifically engineer it so it works. I love your idea, bro. That would be
Data
class.
pirate.
That would be amazing. It'd just be like Independence Day, where they give the code to the alien mothership, isn't it? And
you're literally going to become the most feared penetrator of Stanton, like systems penetrator.
I was going to say, I'm glad you elaborated on systems penetrator.
I just had to add system in on the end there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I think that for me would give me a reason to play the game. I won't need any fancy ships. Maybe that's why CRG will never do it, because I never buy big ships. But like, I'll have my little, like, my cutter or something that's really small, so I can remain undetected, fly close to locations, and then do this. Or even if they implemented, like you said, the MSR. The MSR is a data runner, so why can it not be a data stealer or something along that lines? Where
that's what it is. That's exactly what the Herald and the MSR are.
But so then I can jump in my Herald, I can fly by someone's ground base, I can then just do like a random scan.
Breakdown. That's what you want to say.
They've got the Quanta 45 OS. Right, so I head back to my base for the day. I'll search up Quanta 45. I'll learn the algorithm of this like OS system, and then I come back the next day with my crypto stick that I've coded from the Herald with a brute force attack in that algorithm, and then I can sit there, and it might take time if they've got a good cryptographer in their org that's worked on their system. I can imagine Spectre in our base is just going to be all over.
He would be our guy. Analyze this.
And he will sort that out, and then that's it. I can get into their base. We can do some stuff, but then I can go, right. You know what? At 1900 hours on the 24th, I'm going to pull their shield down. So I need everyone there at 1705.
Hacker for hire as well. I can get into people's bases. That'd be so
exactly.
Cool.
I kind of see it just for information as well. Like, you don't need to have their shields down. You can say like, right, I've just hacked into this Harley's cargo manifest. They've been going from Hurston to Crusader the last 3 runs. But the majority of their runs are between Microtech and
Manifesto what's on board, because that would be required by port authorities.
Yeah. And then you go, right, okay, so they mostly do this during this time. So during that time, you get yourself an interdictor and like a well kitted out crew to deal with whatever support it's got. You know exactly where they are, what they have in support, and you're there, and they're just sort of like dumbfounded as to what's happened. And that's the sort of gameplay I think that we will see eventually.
That'd be dope.
I just love the idea of an individual crippling an org. It could be a big org. It could be Avenger Squadron, or it could be like whoever. And one guy just walked in a cape, and he just walked through the front door because the doors are open, the turrets are deactivated, and he's got this information that's going to be used in like 3 months' time because there's this intel, this big hit.
And you've got a pseudonym like Cheeky Jawa or something like that.
Yeah, like cheap tack.
Just imagine the scope of where this could be used though. Like, so go back, say you got an MSR Mark II blue, and you take off all your weapons, you power down your shields, and you approach an unbeknown craft. You're outside of its radius, or out of the side of its detectionable sort of like field, but you can target that and start the hack. Take off their radar, allowing you to get closer, giving you a stronger signal strength so you can process faster, shut off their engines, shut off their shields, open the doors, Legionnaire goes in, board him crew, boom, you have taken complete control of the ship, and there is nothing they can do about it.
That's if you're good at FPS.
But hear me out. So your radar goes down, you recognise that you're being hacked, jammed, attacked, whatever. You take immediate action to try and encounter. Obviously, like say, you have to have your shields down, your weapons off or removed to be able to get close enough to these opposition players to be able to hack into the systems, leaving you vulnerable, essentially. So it's still like a balanced gameplay. You can't just brute your way in and that's it. It takes a couple of seconds, it's done. It takes a player to not really be concentrating. You're in, take down the radar, shut off the engines. Oh, what's going on? Engineering on that ship then go onto their system, recognize they're being hacked, and then they counter the hack. They turn off systems. They reroute power to different components. Start taking stuff offline. But meanwhile, they're like, okay, well, guess what? Your shield generator is now about to blow up, and you're about to have a fire on your ship. Oh, just imagine the chaos that you could undertake, and then you couple it with everything else you're talking about. You walk up, guess what? You go and do a bunker? Nah, that's my ship now. You walk up to the ship, like where the Gladius is. It's got the port. I think it's for fuel, but it's just a port. You plug your hacking device in. Yep, cool. Open the canopy. Off you go. Stolen your ship. Forces you to take protection with you.
There's so many. Mate, this is a topic for a different podcast. Like,
yep.
There's so much we can do.
This is our job application to CIG right now.
Yeah, if you want someone to implement some sort of gaming OS, simplified gaming OS, don't ask me, I don't know. But this is our idea, trademarked. So you have to buy it off us. we are monetizing something for CIG now. It's not their way around. CIG monetizing us.
I mean, I do like seeing these little things, like the artifact having those different sorts of things. There's lots of little things that they drop where you can tell they've looked at previous games, gone, that works well, we want to use that, and that makes me keep coming back and wanting to purchase more stuff because
their marketing is that good as well. Their marketing is that bad and that good all at the same time.
When a website comes up with a new ship, oh my god, it looks good. But my self-control has got a lot better lately. Like the Peregrine came out, and I was like, I wasn't saying about you. I'm just saying about me personally.
No, but it could be just community at a whole. Like, no, I don't actually know anyone that has bought the Peregrine personally.
Yeah, I think that's down to bad timing. Because honestly, no one's going to buy a ship like that when the racetracks aren't really in a good state. But hey, that's a topic for next time. I think we've done quite well here, and I need to go in a short bit. So,
Someone's getting his own hacking stick out.
No,
yeah.
I think dying to go to the toilet.
I think, you know what? I am loving the idea of them having a knockoff Linux OS in the game that you could do your hacking system and it's automated, like the simplified hacking, and it can play a little mini game. But for someone that knows, they can actually use they could do a root hack on the system and all that sort of stuff. I think hacking needs to be, if they want to get rid of meta gaming, I think they need to actually work on the hacking gameplay so we can still meta game inside the game, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be such a big thing, and it actually really makes me sad that is going to be, if they do decide to do this, that's like another 10 years, 12 years down the line, which is annoying. But yeah, anyway,
keep going. Keep doing it.
I don't want to dredge this topic any longer. I think we've had a very good run already.
Yep. This has been great.
Hit a lot of nails on heads, and I love to see what happens actually, because this will be my last one, so I'll be happy to see what you guys come up with for the next month or so. I'll be watching on exercise.
Typing, like furiously typing.
Yeah, I'll be deployed out, but I'll be watching, making sure I hear every Star Wars Galaxies reference.
Gosh. Well, GFA in chat is going to step up to fill some big boots that you're leaving behind temporarily.
Yes, you need to grow some hair very quickly, or wear a Drake cap, or a McLaren cap. Actually, I've got a McLaren cap. Big up McLaren boys today. Anyway, going slight digressing, but McLaren cap will do.
That's fine.
McLaren cap will do just fine.
Credits will do fine. Nice.
Cool. So next time, Thursday, I believe. Topic TBC. We'll see what the community comes up with and what CIG come up with between now and then as well. But for now, nothing really on the horizon, is there? Apart from sitcom. Are we getting QD hoodies?
Nothing
and
really on
t-shirts?
the horizon. It's like Christmas
4.0,
sitcom for
just
me.
allow it.
Oh my god!
I meant between
I
now
just
and
love it.
Thursday.
Now and Thursday, to be honest, the game's working really smoothly. I'm enjoying it. If I could say anything out here that's going to get to anyone, do try it. It's a lot more stable. Flight feels a lot better. I was low flying today. They've done something with the strafe up, I'm pretty sure. There's it's still not as good as what it used to be fully, but they've definitely increased it somehow. So do try it.
The death with mastermodes. No.
Goddamn pirate.
Definitely not judging that topic back up.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I would agree that we played it a lot last night.
We
and
don't
it was
have
very,
2
very
hours for
fun.
that.
So yeah, no, I
Yeah.
would agree on the topic of getting people back into the verse just for the interim. I know there's not a lot going on, but it's still pretty fun.
Especially what happens in Pirate Week stays in Pirate Week. So
No,
let's
don't.
just remember that.
Nope.
Apart
It's
from
not
what
Pirate Week.
this guy
Pirate
does.
Week is 52 weeks of the year.
There we go.
Come on, brother.
Except poverty. Poverty will follow you back home.
I legitimately feel bad pirating. I just feel bad. The only time I do it is when someone's pirated me. I'd like to pirate them back, but yeah.
I seem to
just can't sleep at
recall
night.
that we had a spectator on the Idris during the Xeno threat missions. And we all felt a bit edgy by having someone that was not our org on the Idris with us. And someone took action. And that person was not me.
Warzone. That wasn't a pirate. Like, we were on board a Xeno threat ship.
There was no Xenos on that ship. We had complete control. He had been on the ship, running around with us for the last 5-10 minutes, and then
He was
just
pointing his gun at us.
That wasn't me. That was Sharon.
He was pointing his gun at us, and I just took no shits. Like, I was
You
like,
said,
I'm
never
not
mind.
having this.
He's down now.
But that's what all gameplay is going to eventually turn out.
We recruited him and got him in afterwards, but like,
you're going to have these uneasy alliances when you've got large scale operations, and I'm all for it.
I did try and make full communication with him on comms and on chat. Wasn't happening.
It was just at the same time you were shooting him.
Cool. Right, well, thanks from all of us, and thank you for everyone in chat. We will see you Thursday at the earliest. So, yeah, peace out.
Take care, guys.